Yes, we are here, we are here, we are here, we are here. We're very much here, and we are always, of course, happy to be of service at this important time for you all as you are moving forward on your days in this journey of humanity's experience and final push to be able to evolve into a more empowering and supportive consciousness, which drops the ego of comparison and judgment and bitterness and resentments and hurt, to be able to overcome your experiences that have deeply emotionally hurt you, because you are not currently holding physical hurt that others have done to you, because you've all done the physical hurt to self. You've all experienced certain emotions which you may not be able to overcome, and that has manifested itself into a disease or illness or a disruptive alignment, attunement with your body's energy fields, which then manifests itself into an illness or something that is showing dis-ease and harmony within the bodies. So there is that experience that many of you are having, and we wanted to remind you that you are doing this to yourselves. And this is a difference between the evolutionary ascension symptoms, which is in complete harmony and balance according to your alignments and frequency vibrations within you. And so there is much to have discernment over. Are you still victimizing yourself and impacting yourself in a negative way, or actually are you in tune with your body and allowing and flowing the experiences of the higher frequency that is allowing your body to more attune itself into the crystalline body versus holding on to the decaying carbon-based body? And for some of you, it is an ease and grace period, where it's barely noticeable, and others who are very focused on the bodies will find this quite an abrupt experience. Of course, when something new happens to the bodies, most of you will start worrying, potentially Googling what your symptoms are and hoping that it's not the current virus or something else that you're afraid you may be vulnerable to. And there is much for us that we want to say to you today, because this is an important day. Like all of your days are important for you to be reminded of your choices. For those of you who are listening to our information and using your egos to feel that you are above it all and that you can't humble yourself to be compassionate and see all opportunities to love others and see others as equals, we invite you to be able to do this now. And for those of you who still feel small and insignificant and who are struggling silently, we invite you to reach out to those who can help and support you with love and non-judgment. This is a big key for you. Using your voice to ask for help can sometimes be very challenging because you judge yourselves that you are not coping versus seeing and seeking the lessons and experiences that are required for you to be able to learn and grow from it. You potentially could be on the very big verge of a big breakthrough, to be able to have profound epiphanies, to be able to move forward, and potentially this is your last sticking point. We encourage you all so deeply to go within, and please stop distracting yourselves with information that you just view as entertainment at this point. You know the difference between higher integrity information and perspective points that are to try and keep you in focus versus the entertainment that is just taking your time and distracting you. We would prefer for you to be able to take the time to go within and seek out information within you versus listening to copious amounts of fluff. There is so much spiritual and truth of fluff out there. And we say this with love, but you're beyond that. If you've been listening to our sessions for so long and you reside with our energy, and you know that we are from a higher perspective, you can trust that what we're trying to beg from you is to go within and feel your own information. We told you recently you are your own biggest influencer. And what did you do with that? You mostly dismissed that. You mostly dismiss that and still seeking out influencers' information to see the 3D gossip of what is coming next. And as you know, 3D conscious minds are not really capable of being able to understand the greater matters at hand, the evolution of this planet and the evolution of humanity in its totality as it is shifting into a higher frequency dimension. And you know it is a physical shift. But yet you know others who are trying to say it is just a concept of a mindset, and that is not the case. That opportunity to adjust its singularity being a shift in consciousness, that window has passed, and it is much more than that. It is much greater than that. And we have been saying this consistently to you for years, for those who have wanted to seek out the full truth and understand the actual nuances of all the things that are occurring and unfolding on this planet at this time. And we know many will awaken when the bigger events occur, because those will be undeniable, that you possibly cannot be on the new earth when there is bigger destructions occurring, because that will conflict their reality of belief systems, that they create their own environments and realities. They should be questioning and pondering this now with your, with all the other distractions and agendas that are being played on nauseam for the masses to be distracted with at this current time. All is purposeful, but for those people who should be able to step up in their roles of leadership, to be able to really empower themselves, if you're still playing humble, that is no longer serving you. If you're still being distracted by distracting information that is not raising your frequency and not empowering you, potentially it is time to say farewell to those stepping stones, because you're already leaps and bounds ahead of them. There is something about your insecurities of your own belief systems that is making you afraid to fully step up and out and stop distracting yourselves with those other distractions. But many of you still feel like it's safe. It's a safety net just in case this shift does not occur and you still are finding yourself here in the 3D for decades to come. That is a choice. That is fine. We will not judge you for your lack of belief and faith and trust, but we have asked you many times to be able to have your own sessions, to be able to have your undeniable experiences of us channeling through you, to be able to tell you the factual information of what you're supposed to be focusing on. But we understand it's too big for your comprehensions to be able to understand the nuances of all of the levels of experiences that humanity must experience before the evolutionary shift and the manual evacuation. We understand that these are a lot of triggering thoughts and concepts, but just because you're struggling to have full faith and trust in this information doesn't mean it's not going to occur. You have to respect the planet's contract, her life contract, and you have to respect all of the beings who are here to help assist with this crucial time, because your planet and its energy and its collective density is impacting others greatly. But yet humanity seems to think that they're the only special unicorn in the universe, and we say this with much love. But if you could see the totality of all of the density and all of how collectively your choices to keep dense is impacting others, you would feel a bit embarrassed. Now, we are not judging you and asking you to feel embarrassed, but in your density and in your 3D perspective, we're translating how humanity should almost feel about its behaviors and conduct, because you're so far off purpose. And the majority still think that loving each other and trusting each other and empowering each other is a dirty concept and word, and it is for the losers in the world. And we are saying, from our perspective, it's the key. But you've always been distracted from the keys to empower yourself and others. And so this is why we're asking you to disconnect yourselves now from those distractions. We've asked you many times, and we're saying this again, and you're noticing that you are starting to not even have the taste or flavor or desire to listen to certain influences and truthers and certain other things that lower your vibrations. Many of you have stopped listening to the news, for example, because you just know how nonsense it is. And so empower yourselves to see how far you've come, to see how many stepping stones you actually have processed through on your journey of your evolution and your own empowerment. Remembering you must be able to fully empower yourself to then be of service to others. But this is our hope and dreams, and this is what you've signed up for. And many of you are stronger in some areas and a little bit weaker in others. And this is not a judgment. This is an observation of how we are seeing you process this information and what you do with it. And so we are constantly seeing if our messages are reaching you. We're constantly checking in to see how you are processing and unfolding and applying the information. Because these are love letters and messages from home, shall you say. And so we're constantly giving you the same information, and many of you are distracting yourselves and not taking it seriously as if you've got all the time in the world. And we would like to remind you that all the time in the world is a lot shorter than you are prepared for. Yes, emotionally, some moments you feel like you want to get off this bus, and we say that with love. But you must go and complete this full journey. Because if you are distracting yourselves too much, we have to have as much support on the ground as possible. And so if you are part of the problem, unfortunately, we say to you with much love, we have to resolve all weak links. And this is not a threat. This is just a reminder of the seriousness of what is here. You often think, with your entitlement, that you are privileged and will be here regardless of your demeanor and approaches and behaviors. And we say that is not the case at all. No one gets a free pass here. You all have to be working and being helpful and playing the higher frequency game. If you're a very big light worker who can hold lots of energy and you choose to play in the density, you are a big problem if you can see it from our perspective. So you're holding and draining more density and keeping it on yourself, and you are lowering the vibration of others. And this is a problem because we are working very hard and diligently to raise vibrations of all. And so if you are not able or know how to ground yourself, to surrender your ego and to be able to be open to us and our messages to you, to be able to help guide you, you are off purpose. You're off your mission. And so while you all have free will and you're entitled to have free will, when it becomes closer and closer and closer, as you're seeing now, many people are taking exit points suddenly, and that is very peculiar because healthy people are suddenly exiting, as well as other people who have been exposed to certain medical treatments. And so it's not an accident or a surprise to us who gets to shift prior. And not saying that all who have shifted prior are part of the problem. In fact, some of you are part of the solution to help those be evacuated and to assist. And it is a big job, as we have said. And so we need many people, many beings to be able to assort and assist all of the events coming. And it takes a tremendous amount of effort and diligence to be able to support. As you can understand, many people who find themselves shifting need support. This is a big thing. You can't be alone. You have to be very supported and physically feel that you are around loved ones. And so as you can imagine, when you're trying to evacuate a whole planet, there would be many beings that need to be supporting and assisting each soul as they are finding their balance and remembrance of their experience and why they chose to be on this planet at this time. There are so many layers to this, and every aspect needs to be well respected and well supported, because this is This is a very crucial time. We see that it has been hijacked many times before, which you could say is your past, but also is your future. And so we have extended and played with time as we have needed to make it the better experience for all. And so we could explain that as being the delays of the shift in terms of extra time that you are having now on this planet, or your perception of extra time. As we've always said to you, there is lots going on, and it is not for all to hear. Sometimes this information can be poison because you are not ready to hear or comprehend it, and so you'll tune yourselves out to our frequency and our information because you're not quite ready to step up, or you're not quite ready to step down, for those people who are carrying big egos. So it is interesting how everyone is perceiving and responding and respecting this information. And for those who are being of service, we deeply and humbly honor and acknowledge you with great respect. And we say this with much love.